Just a few days ago, 4 Wall Street executives walked into an expensive restaurant in Manhattan. And with their dinner, they ordered a $2,000 bottle of wine. Well, just a few tables over, there was a young couple having dinner, and they ordered a bottle of wine as well, but they ordered the $18 bottle of wine on the menu. Well, the waiter put both bottles of wine into beautiful decanters and accidentally mixed up the decanters, giving the $2,000 bottle of wine to the young couple and the $18 bottle of wine to the 4 Wall Street executives. When the manager of the restaurant realized the mistake was made, he went over to the 4 Wall Street executives and said, "How are you enjoying your wine tonight?" And they said, "It's so delicious, it's so rich, it's so pure." And they went on gushing about how wonderful the expensive wine was, not knowing that they were drinking the $18 bottle of wine. And then the manager went over to the young couple and said, "I just want to let you know, we made a mistake. You're actually drinking a $2,000 bottle of wine. We're not going to charge you for it, but enjoy it." And the young couple said, really? They felt like they won the lottery, their lucky night. And they began to savor every drop of wine and sip it so slowly, knowing that every sip was worth $100. And this is a very important lesson about life. In life, the saying is, seeing is believing. But sometimes what you believe is what you see, or in this case, what you believe is what you taste. If you believe you're drinking a $2,000 bottle of wine, even though you're drinking the $18 bottle of wine, you may think you're drinking, or feel like you're drinking a $2,000 bottle of wine. And the young couple, when they realized it was a $2,000 bottle of wine, suddenly they started to sip it slowly and enjoy and savor every drop of the wine. And this is such a fundamental lesson in life. Life is more about our perception and our beliefs than what the reality is. If we have the right perspective and the right fundamental beliefs and outlook in life, everything is delicious, everything is rich, everything is tasty. But if we have a negative perception, no matter how expensive it is, we go by life not even appreciating the miracles and the wonders and the awesomeness and the delicious taste and fragrance and richness of every moment of life. This week's parsha is the story of Abraham and Sarah, and they have 2 children. One is Isaac and one is Ishmael. And Ishmael starts out as the angel tells his mother he will be a per-adam, a wild-ass man. And indeed, he is so bad that Abraham and Sarah are forced to drive him out of the home. But at the end of his life, we know Ishmael does teshuvah, and he comes back to his father and reunites with his brother Isaac. And with all of these peace accords with the United Arab Emirates, and then Bahrain and Sudan, and now all the other countries that are talking about making peace with Israel, we're hoping that this is the era we're in, that the descendants of Ishmael will finally make peace with the descendants of Isaac. Mashiach is coming. We're getting closer to the final days when the 2 brothers will come back together. But when that happens, and it will happen, we'll ask ourselves, how did it happen? How did Abraham's son Ishmael come back and make peace with his father and his mother and his brother? And it was after the passing of his mother, but reunites to the legacy of his family, even though he's not part of the Jewish faith. And how is it that Isaac and Ishmael made peace? And the answer we'll find will be in next week's Torah portion. When God comes to Abraham and says, "I want you to take your only son and bring him for an offering," Abraham says to God, "But I have 2 only sons, one from Sarah, one from Hagar. Isaac is the son of Sarah, and Ishmael is the son of Hagar." So God says, Asher ahavta, the one you love. And once again, our rabbis say, Abraham says to God, "I love both of them." And therefore God goes on to say, Isaac is the one you should take. And the question is, you have 2 sons. One is Isaac, one is Ishmael. One is going in your footsteps. One is rejecting everything you believe in. How could you say you love them both? And the answer is that the reason Ishmael did teshuvah and returned to his father, and God willing his descendants will return to unite with the Jewish people, is because Abraham loved both of them equally. He saw the good in both of them. He didn't give up hope on either one of them. And when you are persistent and you're seeing the good in your child, ultimately they will rise to that expectation. And what you see and what you believe will become the reality of their lives, because how you see someone truly and how you see events in life truly shapes the outcome. Just a concluding story, there was this rabbi who was a teacher in a school for many decades, and he was at a wedding. And a young man came over to me and said, "Hi, I don't know if you remember me. I was your student 30 years ago." He said, "Oh, nice to meet you. I remember you." "Yeah." He says, "So what do you do?" He says, "I became a teacher too, a Rabbi in a yeshiva. And I want you to know you inspired me. And I wanted to thank you for inspiring me to become a teacher." He said, "Really? I'm so flattered. How did I inspire you?" He says, "One day, a kid brought a watch to school. And the student reported to you that someone stole his watch out of the backpack. You asked the students to admit who stole it, but nobody would admit. And I was the one who stole it, and it was in my pocket. And at that point, you said, 'Students, I have no choice. I'm going to line you all up in a straight row against the wall, and I'm going to check all of your pockets to see who stole the watch.' And I was sitting there trembling because I knew that I had the watch in my pocket, but it was too late to say anything. You went through all the pockets, and when you finished, you had asked all the students to close their eyes as you checked their pockets, and you said, 'Okay, students, you could open your eyes now,' and you were holding the watch, and you returned it to the student. You had found it in my pocket. And I was waiting for you to throw me out of class, to send me to the principal's office, and I would be shamed and ridiculed as a thief forever. But you didn't say a word to me, ever, ever. And I was so inspired by the love of my teacher and the impact you had on my life that it taught me such a lesson to never steal again, because I was so ashamed and scared of getting caught. I realized the influence a teacher could have, and I decided to become a teacher myself." And the student asked the teacher, "Don't you remember the story? How you had the self-control not to reprimand me after you found the watch in my pocket?" And the teacher said, "To tell you the truth, I never knew this story." And the student said, "How could it be you never knew this story?" And the teacher said, "Because when I checked all your pockets, I closed my eyes too. I didn't want to know who the thief was. I wanted to continue to respect and honor and love every one of my students. When we respect and honor and love every person, they show us the best version of themselves. And like Ishmael, they return to their father, to their family. Let us hope that this is the future of mankind."